Thought I would turn this on to do a little sit and talk, as I've had a couple questions and I wanted to share something with you fine folks regarding my experience with Mr. Quincy Jones, who passed away. But first, Brother Mojo asked me a question about 6 saddles, individual saddles, as opposed to the tree saddles like that right there, the 3 and the 6. First of all, Brother Mojo, the mojo of a guitar, does it come from the saddles, and do I prefer, I believe is your question, the nature of the 6 independents or the tree? Simply to me, I can't tell the difference. I think it's more relative to the combination of a lot of things. I have put them on the BG benders. I put that one there, compensated on there, as I did here. Now, keep in mind that these were little $12 editions off of Amazon, so it's not like that I was spending a zillion dollars because I thought it would just make it better. There is a difference with the metal and the contact points and all that stuff, and this is the original BG bender that I've not changed, and in my opinion, one of the better sounding guitars in the house. Obviously, you can see on the original, this is the Fender Broadcaster 1950. That's the original saddles, and that's the nature of how they were. There's a 1981 that's never been changed, and you can see that unique bridge design. That's a Diant. Of course, this is the Glacier. This was the saddle that came with this. And Mr. Joe Glacier asked me, when I sent this guitar to him, he asked me specifically about what saddle setup I had, and I asked him, I said, Joe, what should I have? He said it didn't matter. So I think the mojo comes from a lot of different combinations and not just the saddles. Any one thing can surely be the difference, but it's the combination, isn't it? So with that said, I hope that answered your question. I wanted to share something with you all about an experience I had with Mr. Quincy Jones. It was during this time for the Roots of the Ryman taping, and this was done on June the 1st, 1994. And you can see right there a Quincy Jones, Dave Salzman Entertainment production. And it was at that event that was filmed at the Ryman Auditorium that I had an opportunity to be a small spoke in the wheel, helping the Drifting Cowboys who were participating with the actual videoing of it. And in this video, right here, this is in this picture rather, this is a dress rehearsal of the actual event. And I don't hope this is going to come out. And there's the 2 cowboys, that's Jerry and Don. But the cast of people that were in this was incredible. Let me share this with you. Little Jimmy Dickens, Grandpa Jones, Earl Scruggs, Patty Loveless, Loretta Lynn, Kitty Wells. This would be Connie Smith behind Mr. Bill Monroe. This is the Sullivans right here, the Sullivan family. Marty Stewart, Jerry Clower. That is Susie Boggess, Vince Gill, Pam Tillis, Joe Diffie right there, Carlene Carter, my favorite, Mr. Carl Perkins right there. Let's go back up the Cowboys, Don and Jerry. Let's see who I missed here. There's Mike Snyder, the Fairfield 4, which actually were 5 of them. Mr. Alan Jackson. Let's see, Leroy Parnell, Delbert McClinton, Chet Atkins, Steve Warner, the Mavericks. That would be Jerry Douglas, Stuart Duncan, and Hargis Pig Robbins, all by memory. How about that? And it was at that taping that Alan Jackson was singing with the Cowboys, and he was singing Lovesick Blues with the Cowboys playing behind him. That was their part of this. It was an incredible taping that I got to be a part of as an assisting element there. It was during that time that Alan Jackson, who was pretty bashful, wanted a picture of Don and Jerry and him. And I had a disposable camera that I would always shoot. That's what this came off of, as a disposable camera. And he came up and asked if he could have a picture, and I snapped this picture right there of Alan and the Cowboys. Then I would have the guys sign one and get it to him a few weeks later. So I got to shake Mr. Quincy Jones' hand, and he was obviously a legend in this world of music, responsible for so much music that is a part of our lives. And that would be the only time that I was ever around his presence. But his music is a part of our lives. Michael Jackson's Thriller album, and on and on and on. Please, if you're not familiar with the legacy of Quincy Jones, quite a deal. With that said, I just wanted to share a little bit of that. This is some of the memorabilia that I've been fortunate to have, but in particular, how it related to Mr. Quincy Jones and an event that he had put it on. So with that in mind, let's see, is there anything else I can share with you? Well, this go around, maybe not, but well, yeah, there's a little kid fiddle player from way back when, and that's me and Mr. Dickens, and me and Leon Rhodes, the legendary guitar picker, me and Grandpa Jones, me and the Cowboys, Mr. Hank Snow. Oh, that's myself, Uncle Don, Grandpa Jones, Charlie Collins, and Earl White of the Smoky Mountain Boys of Roy Acuff's group. Mr. Charlie Daniels, the gang. Jack Green, the first entertainer of the year, CMA, 1967. That's yours truly, and the Jerry and Mr. Bobby Andrews, bass player. One of the most recorded guitar players of all time, Mr. Harold Bradley. And of course, Ernest Tubb, and that's Harold at 17 years of age. Harold way in the back, and Pee Wee King. Yours truly with Ricky Van Shelton, Mr. Matt Gillen, and for all you wrestling fans, that's the fabulous one, Mr. Jeff Jarrett. Yeah, that's right, WWF stuff. I've done some work for them way back when. Got a lot of stuff. I got a lot of pictures that are not on the wall. But all that to say, just wanted to share a little bit about that. Brother Mojo, I think the mojo comes from the combination of the person playing and the nature of what they're trying to get. And you got to remember one thing about the technology, the imperfections of what Mr. Leo Fender was doing in 1950 and the music that would be made subsequently from things that were so-called imperfect. I think as time has gone on, we've tried to recreate the wheel. And I'm not saying that progress is a bad thing, but to refine music to the point of making sure that everything is exactly in pitch and exactly perfect. When Don and Jerry and Hank and the guys would go into a recording session, they would walk over to the piano, because the piano was the one thing that was not easily tuned, obviously, right? They'd hit middle C and everybody would go up and tune by ear. Even in Don's last, his years on the road, I think I still have it because this is his pack seat right here. He still had a tuning fork, an actual fork that he'd hit. He'd hit it and he'd put it on the pickup. And he would tune that way many times. So the reason I'm saying that is because intonation, obviously, yes, it's critical. It is critical. But how many great albums where things are kind of just barely a little bit out of focus that makes that what we refer to as a fat sound? And an intonated element can be so sterile if everything is perfect. Now, listen. It's all relative to the nature of the music you like. I'm not saying play out of tune. If you got an instrument that's out of tune that's giving you a problem, then yes, I think you should do whatever. And if it took 12 of those things to get you in tune, I simply want to be close enough to playability. But the fact of the matter is, whether it's a 3-tree or 6 individuals, from a tonal standpoint, I don't have the ear good enough to tell you that they are, boy, you better have a 3-tree brass or this, that, and the other. I think you take that guitar and give it to Guthrie Trapp or Tom Bukovac, and they'll show you how to play it if it was made out of plastic. Anyway, with that said, hope that everybody's doing well, and I hope that you enjoyed a little bit of a diatribe based on the questions that have been asked. God bless you all. Heading to the woods to go chase some biggins tomorrow, but not before I do a couple songs. Got to do a tune or 5 here and work on some video stuff. So God bless you all, and thank you all for hanging out for a bit.